colleagues from International Center for Hydropower who joining us from Norway. Good afternoon, Joe and Laura.
Good afternoon, very happy to be here.
Very happy to see you. On behalf of PT Penjaminan Infrastruktur Indonesia, Persero, through IIGF Institute, thank you for taking time to join today's executive briefing series. My name is Ayum Andar, Partnership Specialist from IIGF Institute, and it is my pleasure to serve you as your Master of Ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, allow me to share a few notes. This session is conducted in English and Bahasa Indonesia. We have provided interpreter to support the discussion, so participants may follow and engage in the language they are most comfortable with. For participants who joining through Zoom, kindly set your camera always on. Rename your name with format name and institution, please, so we may acknowledge where you came from, and keep your microphone muted throughout the presentation. All the questions may be submitted through the Zoom Q&A feature. This session is being recorded and live streamed via YouTube Live. We also encourage everyone to participate in the live polling that will be launched during today's session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will explore how advanced ESG approach and technical de-risking can contribute to improving renewable energy project. Without further ado, let us begin today's program. To officially commence today's event, I would like to invite everyone to welcome our Acting Chief Executive Officer of PT Penjaminan Infrastruktur Indonesia, Dr. Permana. Sir, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ayum, as our MC today, and also colleagues that surrounding me here in our office, and also, of course, our colleagues from ICH Norway, Laura, John, and Joanna. I assume nice to meet you, and also, of course, distinguished representatives from the ministries. I have listed here is from Ministry of Finance, coming from the DG of Financing and Risk Management, and also DG of State Asset, also the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, and also Ministry of Public Works, and Ministry of Planning, or Bappenas. Our SOE colleagues, State-owned enterprise and special mission vehicles from PT PLN, PT SMI, PT IIF, also I also have been noticed that there's our colleague also from the Ministry of Investment, and also our development partners, JICA, and also from Norwegian Embassy in Jakarta, Bu Rahima, and also from the World Bank, Pak Bugu, and all distinguished guests and invited participants. Good afternoon or good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I'd like to express our gratitude, and also thank you very much for having us from PT Penjaminan Infrastruktur Indonesia, or Indonesia Infrastructure Guarantee Fund, IIGF, to facilitate this workshop together with ICH, and this important webinar is having a topic that's very relevant for our development, and I think have been somehow become a global agenda. And I think here I'd like to say that Indonesia as well, and I think this is something that we can discuss further in our session later. In the context of ESG, or environmental, social, and governance, and also how we try to promote and facilitate the development of renewable energies in many sectors. I think this is something that we've been quite active in Indonesia, not only in the public sector, i.e. the government and also its entities, but also with our partners from private sectors and state-owned enterprises, and also our other colleagues, stakeholders, including from academia, from universities as our partner. As an SMV, or special mission vehicle of the government, or fiscal tool of Ministry of Finance, IIGF has a mandate in facilitating creative financing instruments to promote private sector participations in many sectors for infrastructure, sustainability, and provision. So I think through the mandate of provision of government guarantee and project development facility, I think we are more than happy to express and share probably later in a discussion how we would like also to listen from the relevant speakers here, and also from the discussion what would be the lessons learned, or probably best practice, or probably sample projects or approach methodologies that related to these topics. In IIGF, we have a think tank unit called IIGF Institute. So this is a unit that assigned in IIGF to facilitate this kind of facilities, because we have other scope of activities related to capacity building, research, policy research, advisory, and also facilitating a community of practice in this area. So I think we'll be very glad to have ICH as an institution, our strategic partners, to share global expertise and also commitment to innovation for this area of practice. And I think this webinar has become the first step of our collaboration, and we'd like to further explore with the other activities and deliverables, probably to have more meaningful outcome and impact to the society. So here I also recognize that we will have Dr. Jorn Staff as an internationally recognized expert from Multiconsult that has some experience in one of our projects in Indonesia for hydropower projects in Asahan. And I think with other experience that he has, probably we can also learn many things and also hear some views from even our regulators, from the ministries, and also from the PLN as our partners in this energy projects. Yeah. And I think lastly from my side, I'd like to share that I really encourage every participants to engage actively in this very useful and quite rare opportunities to gather with some experts and also from different institutions. And hopefully with this webinar, we can learn something and we can have some beneficial outputs that can be increasing our capacity and our understanding towards this topic. And I hope everyone productive and insightful discussion. Thank you very much. I return my mic to Ms. Ayum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Permana, for your inspiring opening remarks and for highlighting the importance of strengthening collaboration in advancing sustainable infrastructure financing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite our strategic partner from international Center for Hydropower, Laura. Please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction, and it is a pleasure to meet your CEO, your lead. We have the opportunity to say hello to Line Almond Hagen, our managing director, that regardless that she is on her annual leave, she has joined the meeting. So I will like to invite Line to say some few words for the audience, and thank you for taking your early morning to be with us, Line. We really appreciate it. You are on mute, Line. You're still on mute.
Okay.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much. I wasn't able to unmute myself. So thank you very much for the introduction, Laura. I know I came in a little late, but I had a chance to join, and I did not want to miss this opportunity. So my name is Line Almond Hagen. I'm the managing director for ICH, and we are really appreciating this opportunity to showcase also what we can do in collaboration with you going forward. So I hope that this will be a good starting point for our cooperation. I think the program that Laura has put together with Jörn and Joe will be amazing. I see we have a lot of participants, so I'm really happy for that. And I know we have our shorter time, but I'm really happy that we got this program running today, and I look forward for the cooperation going forward. So thank you so much for your cooperation so far, and again, I hope that this program will live up to the expectations. So I'm very happy I'm here, and I look forward to the rest of the program. So thank you so much, and back to you, Laura.
Thank you, Line. Thank you for being with us. So I just wanted to say that we are honored to be here amongst all this amazing number of participants from your network. I hope that this program that we have prepared today will be wonderful for each and every one of you, and you find richness in it. Now I want to hand over to our Master of Ceremony, Mrs. Joe Pereira.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you, Line, for being here, and thank you to the team there for the opening remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to give you some insight into the ICH methodology and the team that we have here. So perhaps if we could have the bio slides, I just would like to briefly introduce the three main ICH members that you will be meeting today. Just also to check that the translation is working. Everybody is hearing me in the language they prefer. So please let me know if there are any difficulties there. So if we could have the bio slides, please.
I think I don't have the possibility to share.
Diva has them.
Okay, thank you.
No, okay, perhaps we could start with the Slido then, if that's not quite ready. Oh no, here we go. Excellent, okay. So Laura, who you just met, who is our head of studies, is an international expert in renewable energy and sustainability. She has 18 years of experience in capacity building across Latin America, Asia, and Norway. As the head of studies, she leads programs that integrate sustainability, governance, and inclusion across the energy sector. She gathers experts we have this amazing network from around the world to share knowledge and, most importantly, to build solutions. Her work focuses on cross-cutting issues such as conflict transformation, gender equality, and leadership for the energy transition. She has developed strategic alliances with multinational organizations, development banks, and the private sector, strengthening institutional capacity and regional cooperation. Originally from Colombia, now based in Norway, Laura combines technical expertise and social commitment to advance sustainable development through knowledge and collaboration. So that was Laura, who you just met there. Next slide, please. This is me. So I have worked in the health and disability sectors since 1996. And then I worked in Laos in a very large hydropower project. I'm now based in the UK and I advise on a wide range of public health, resettlement, monitoring, indigenous peoples and social safeguard compliance, mostly in your region for the Asian Development Bank. I've been working with ICH since 2016, and it's been an amazing privilege to deliver programs across the region. And I work in Southeast Asia. So really very happy to be with you here this afternoon. I'd also like to quickly introduce our speaker for today. Next slide, please. So Jorn Stave has a PhD and a master's in tropical ecology and has delivered a wide range of environmental consultancy services worldwide, especially relating to hydropower and dams, ESIAs, environmental flow assessments, and environmental due diligence. And we're going to hear about one of his projects today. In Multiconsult, he works closely with hydropower planners and engineers to find practical solutions that make projects more sustainable and aligned with international lender requirements, such as the World Bank Environmental and Social Framework and the IFC performance standards. Dr. Stave holds accreditation by the Hydropower Sustainability Alliance and is a licensed accreditor for the Hydropower Sustainability Assessment Protocol and the Hydropower Sustainability Standard. So he will be giving our presentation shortly, a quick masterclass and a case study from your region. So before we start the presentation, if we could have the Slido, please. The first Slido. Okay. So before we begin our presentations, we'd like to have a direct view from the field, from the context where all of you are now in your day-to-day working environment. So on your screens, you're about to see a QR code, and I think a direct link will also be placed in the chat. So we have 60 seconds to answer our first question, which is how prepared in your current work environment are you to maintain energy security whilst at the same time accelerating your transition targets? So we'll just wait for the QR code to appear on our screens. Hopefully that's coming soon. So this is a very, energy security is a very, particularly even here in Europe, this is a very prominent political issue that is happening. And so I'm sure that's something that has different regional flavors. So let's find out in your region, on a scale of 1 to 5, how prepared is your current regulatory and infrastructure environment to maintain energy security while still accelerating the clean energy transition? So you have a QR code there, and you also have a slido.com. You can put in the PIN code there. I have one participant already ranking. Let's see how many we can get in. I'll just give it 60 seconds. So follow the QR code. On a scale of 1 to 5, how prepared is your current regulatory and infrastructure environment to maintain energy security while still accelerating the clean energy transition? Six ranking, 22, I think I've answered now. So how prepared, so that's regulatory if you work in that field, or if you're infrastructure, if you're working in an infrastructure setting, perhaps in a utility, how prepared would you say you are? And the results are anonymous. We're not going to be sharing this. We're just going to be using it as the frame for our discussion. So I'm going to give it 10, 15 more seconds, and then we will see what your, as a group, what your perception is. Okay, so you've got the QR code or slido.com number is there. Let's see if we can get to 40. Oh, yes. Come on, we can make it. I think we're at 39 now. Yes. Anybody else? One more? One more to get to 40? Can we make it? Okay. I think we're going to hit 40. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Let's have a look. Well, this is excellent news. We have one group that are fully prepared. Not prepared at all is relatively small, so that's good. Still facing major gaps. I see there some of them progressing well and moderately prepared. So we've got a range there depending on what barriers you're facing, what difficulties you are having to manage, as well as how perhaps extreme your weather environments and so on are, and how that might be hampering your progress. So we can see what we'd like to see is that everybody is fully prepared. And so it's clear that we're not quite there yet. So thank you very, very much for participating with that. I'm just going to see if our speaker is here with us. Hopefully Jon is here. Dr. Stave is here, hopefully. I think we're on time. Yeah. Is the speaker here? I can't see everyone in the room. There are so many of us gathered here.
Jorn is here. Jorn is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. We have 111 people here, Jon, listening and ready to hear, which is a fantastic turnout. That's so exciting. There he is. Dr. Stave, thank you very much for joining us. You have 111 keen participants here ready to listen. I have already given your bio, so I'm expecting your presentation to appear shortly. And then I'm going to be handing over to you. Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Sound is good.
Perfect. Do you want me to share my slides, or do you present them yourselves?
I think if you can share, we have them as a backup if you're not able to.
Okay, let me try then to share. There it is. Share. So now I'm joining you from Norway, so I'm just hoping everything will work out. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, there you go.
Thank you so much.
You're still in, you're not quite in slideshow mode just yet.
Okay, I'll give it a few seconds.
Yes, I think it seems to take a little bit of time to catch up.
That's unfortunate. I have it here in screen mode. Do you just confirm when you can see it?
Yeah.
Can you see the front page?
Yes, we can see your front slide. It's just still in outline mode.
Oh, there is always a problem. How do I do that? Maybe do I have to ask you to share it then? Because I seem to be struggling with this. That's a bit unfortunate.
Beaver, are you able to share that presentation?
They can help you. They have the hosting. They can help you, so it will be easier for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Jorn Stave, could you please, okay.
Oh, there you go. It's working.
Okay, it's already
It's working
on screen.
It took a while. Is that working for you in Indonesia? I can see that now.
Dr. Jan Stave, could you please stop the screen share?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so
stop sharing.
we can be able. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, thank you so much, Diva and team there. Excellent. Okay, Dr. Stave, the floor is yours.
Okay, so are you controlling the slides now, or I'm controlling myself?
The team in Indonesia will do that for you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my name is Jon Stave from Multiconsult. I'm joining you from Oslo, Norway. Some of you may know the Asahan 3 hydroelectric power project in North Sumatra, which was commissioned about a year ago. Now I'm going to showcase this project in order to demonstrate to you how this standard as a highly relevant ESG tool for hydropower. And the tool is called the Hydropower Sustainability Standard. So I will introduce to you the basic concepts of this standard and then show you how it was applied to the Asahan power plant. So what we are trying to, the critical issue that the standard is trying to address is how hydropower can contribute to a low carbon economy. And I think you can see my second slide now, isn't it? So we are dealing with questions such as how can investors tell the good actors from the bad actors? How can communities trust and have a voice in hydropower development? How can developers address complex ESG issues? And how can governments be sure that hydropower contributes to scaling up renewable energy? And well, the answer to all these questions is that we need a standard. And for hydropower, the standard is the Hydropower Sustainability Standard. So if we go to the next slide, the beauty of the Hydropower Sustainability Standard is that it is specific to hydropower, and it can be used for all projects at all project stages. So basically, all hydropower projects, irrespective of their size, age, or location, can be assessed and certified against the standard. These can include new and existing projects, run-of-river projects, storage projects, pumped storage, and multipurpose. Now, in order to allow for this wide coverage, there is a separate assessment template for each project stage. So as you can see here on the screen, there is a separate template for project preparation stage, that is the planning stage. There is a separate template for implementation or construction stage, and a separate template for operations stage. And recently, to the left, you can see HydroSelect, which is an early stage tool that has been introduced. And it's not used for certification, but it can help decision-making related to project siting and design and alternatives analysis. So if we go to the next slide, you can see that the Hydropower Sustainability Standard, it covers it all. You know, it has 12 sustainability topics, as you can see them here. And the first 8, you would recognize them maybe from the IFC performance standards or from the World Bank environmental and social standards. You have the environmental and social assessment and management. Number 2 is the labor and working conditions. Number 3 is the water quality and sediments, which is kind of equivalent to the resource efficiency and pollution prevention standard of the IFC and World Bank. Similarly, you have the community impacts and infrastructure safety, resettlement, biodiversity, indigenous peoples, and cultural heritage. And then the G, the governance, is covered in section or topic number 9, which is governance and procurement. Then we have a separate section on communication and consultation. And particularly for hydropower, we have a topic on the hydrological resource. And then finally, the climate change mitigation and resilience. So, a special feature of the Hydropower Sustainability Standard is that it can only be used by accredited assessors. So these are sustainability experts who have been trained to use the standard and have documented experience from the hydropower sector. And you can see my picture there and some of my colleagues. And usually a hydropower sustainability standard assessment is performed by a team of 2 or 3 accredited assessors, including one senior accredited lead assessor. Now, if we go to the next slide, the question is how are these standard hydropower sustainability standard assessments conducted? And the simple answer is that, well, the accredited assessors will view the hydropower facility and the environmental and social conditions at site. They will review all existing documentation, and they will interview stakeholders and affected communities. So the standard assessment is very much evidence-based with a strong focus on objectivity and transparency. The next one. So the standard, if we look at the next slide, the standard consists of 2 levels of performance requirements, and this is a bit important. Now, this slide shows you the template for topic number 1, which you can see is the environmental and social assessment and management at preparation stage. So you will see that each topic has its scope and intent statement, some background project information, and then a section to evaluate project performance and to record the findings. And as you can see here, the standard includes scoring statements at the good practice level, which is referred to as minimum requirements for certification, and then some scoring statements at best practice level, which is referred to as advanced requirements. And this has implications for the type of certification that can be obtained. So the next slide will show you that, each of the 12 sustainability topics are subdivided into 4 main subsections. On the left, you can see the 3 project stages, which is preparation, implementation, and operation. And then the 4 subsections I'm referring to is the assessment, management, conformance and compliance, and outcomes. So the actual requirements related to these 4 main subsections are specific to each sustainability topic, the 12 topics, and it's formulated to fit with a relevant project stage. I've just put some examples here on the minimum requirements related to the resettlement topic. So we would ask questions typically for our project at operation. Under assessment, we would ask, are there any ongoing or emerging issues relating to resettlement, have they been identified? At preparation stage, we would ask the question whether the resettlement impact has been assessed. Now at operation stage, we are talking about new or emerging ongoing issues, whether they have been identified and assessed. Now, under management, the question would be, are the measures or the management measures, are they in place to deliver the commitments to the resettlees and to the host communities? Then the conformance and compliance, it has to do with the regulatory compliance, but also the kind of company obligations of commitments. So any resettlement related commitments have been or are on track to be met. That would be the basic questions. Are we in compliance or are we on track to achieve compliance? And finally, the outcomes would be the most important issue we are looking at, whether this resettlement program is successful. So the question could be, resettlees and host communities have experienced or are on track to experience a timely improvement in livelihoods and living standards relative to the pre-project baseline. So these are just few examples of the criteria which the standard consists of, that we as accredited assessors have to answer through reviewing, viewing, and interviewing. So if we look at the next slide, so once the hydropower sustainability standard assessment has been completed, then the certification depends on whether the project meets the minimum and the advanced requirements. So the basic certification requires that the project meets all the minimum requirements. This means that there are no significant gaps against any of those minimum requirements under all the 12 sustainability topics. And the minimum requirements would then correspond to basic good practice. Now, you could also achieve silver or gold certification, and in order to achieve that kind of certification, the project also needs to meet a certain percentage of the advanced requirements. So next slide, please. I'm going to show you now a practical example of a hydropower sustainability assessment in Indonesia. This is the front page of our assessment report. And you can see here the project name is Asahan 3 hydroelectric power projects with an installed capacity of 174 megawatt. Country is Indonesia. The project is being developed and owned by PLN. The accredited assessors are Jörg Hartmann, myself, and Denny Ramadhani. We issued this report in August last year. The project was certified at operation stage. The certification was obtained in April 2026. So this is basically the results of our assessment. If we look at the next slide, this is the standard information table for the Asahan 3 project. So we see that the project name is Asahan 3. The commercial operation date was the 19th of December 2024. So it's like 1.5 years ago this project was commissioned. It has a low dam, is a gated concrete weir with only a 7.5 meter high dam. So this is obviously not a dam for storage. This is a typical run-of-river project. And you can see the reservoir area at full supply level is only 2 hectares. So it's not actually a reservoir. Usually I refer to this as an intake pond. And I'll show you some pictures later. The average net head, the head from the intake to the outlet is 185 meters. And you can see the average flow of the Asahan River is like 118 cubic meters per second. The design flow, that means the flow that is diverted to the turbines, is 106 cubic meters per second. So the load factor is remarkably high, meaning there is a very reliable inflow, and almost all the water can be used for hydropower generation at all times. And the last point I want to make there is that the number of physically displaced households is only 3, which is also a bit unique, very low impact, basically because of the run-of-river design of this project. So if we look at the next slide, just show you then the location of our project. So you see Lake Toba, as all of you would know, is the largest volcanic lake on Earth, and it serves as the source of the Asahan River, and it provides for the very reliable flows that I referred to. So you can see there the Asahan River as well, and then very importantly, there are 3 existing hydropower facilities on the Asahan River already. So those are referred to as Asahan 1 and Asahan 2. And then our project now, the Asahan 3, is just downstream of those existing projects. The next slide will actually show you this, we call it the cascade. So it starts with Lake Toba in the upstream. Then you have the Asahan 1, and then Asahan 2, actually consisting of 2 power plants, is the Sigura-Gura Dam and power station. And then it's the Tanga Dam and power station. And then is our Asahan 3 project just downstream. And you can see there is also a proposed or planned Asahan number 4, and at least an identified potential for hydropower project even further downstream, which is referred to Asahan 5. So this is a typical hydropower cascade, which is also kind of assisting the Asahan 3 project to become more sustainable, because this is already a highly affected river, which is no longer free-flowing. And of course, when it's already regulated, then exploiting the additional hydropower potential within this river is arguably a sustainable approach to adding more power into the grid. Now, if we look at the next slide, then this is just a general layout of the Asahan 3 project. You can see the intake weir to the left in the upstream. Then it consists of a headrace canal and then a very long headrace tunnel. And then the powerhouse, obviously, downstream. And in terms of the environmental impact, we refer to that river section between the intake and the outlet is the diversion reach. And of course, this is where the hydrological impact of the project will be experienced, because there will be less flow in the diversion reach, since a lot of the water is diverted through the headrace canal and tunnel. So this is the general layout of the project. Now we can look at the next slide, which then basically just gives you a visual impression of how it looks like. This is the intake, the diversion weir for our Asahan 3 project. And you can see actually the Tanga hydroelectric power plant in the background. So the water from the Tanga is emptying directly into the intake pond of our...
Okay.
Now it has moved to the next.
Yeah, perfect. So in order to become very practical, I just now show you a couple of examples from our assessment report, and this will be maybe my second last slide. So this is now the topic number 5, which is resettlement. So let's focus on that one to the left. So this is the minimum requirement under assessment, and you can see the requirement is phrased such as this: monitoring is being undertaken to assess if commitments made to resettlees and host communities have been delivered and if management measures are effective. And we have basically said, yes, the requirement is met. And we then present our findings and observations. And the basic fact is that compensations for loss of land and assets, that has been provided according to the government procedure. And there are only 3 households that were physically displaced, as I told you in the very beginning. This was a few years ago when the land was acquired. And since then, there have been no grievances related to the resettlement issue. We did notice that there is a lack of monitoring. We treated this as we call it a non-significant gaps, because in these assessments, you will always be able to identify weaknesses and gaps. The question is whether is it really a significant gap? And under this topic, under this subsection assessment, we said that the lack of monitoring is not really at this point a critical gap. But what we did say is that the lack of monitoring is a significant gap against the requirements related to outcomes, because the outcome requirement is that all the physically displaced households should have experienced a timely improvement in livelihoods and living standards. Since there wasn't any monitoring at this point, we were not quite sure, we were not quite convinced that the outcome had been achieved. Then what we did was we issued an environmental and social action plan, and PLN then had some time to correct this gap. And the action taken by PLN was that they conducted a socioeconomic survey of those physically displaced households to confirm the improvements in livelihoods and living standards. And when that had been done, even that gap was closed and they were able to achieve certification. Similarly with biodiversity, to your on the right-hand side, this is the minimum requirement related to outcomes. So the requirement is that negative biodiversity impacts arising from activities of the operating facility are avoided, minimized, mitigated, and compensated. And we ticked it. The requirement is met, yes. And our findings are as follows. This Asahan 3 run-of-river hydroelectric power project has a very small footprint. It is a run-of-river design. They also have licensing conditions related to reforestation, minimum flow release, and aquatic biodiversity management, which are being implemented. So, of course, there will be a reduction in aquatic biodiversity on a local scale in what I call the diversion reach. But nonetheless, broadly looking, the impact of this project, because of the way it has been placed in the landscape, the way it is operated, it is sustainable and it is meeting this requirement. Also because it's located in a hydropower cascade with already barriers in the river. You have natural barriers because of the very high waterfalls, and you have the existing dams, meaning that the fish that are maybe trying to move upstream, they are already prevented from this migration. So one additional small dam does not have a very high impact compared to the baseline as it is already. But even this one, there was a lack of monitoring of the aquatic biodiversity. And we said that that was a gap against the assessment requirement, that there has to be monitoring. And then we requested PLN, we allowed them to take action. So what they did is that they prepared an operation stage biodiversity management and monitoring plan, and they started conducting biodiversity surveys during the operation of the project, and that will be continued. So this is just to show you we are able to identify gaps. Some of them are non-significant, some of them are even significant, but then the project developer is allowed to rectify, to correct those gaps in order to achieve and obtain the certification. So I think this was, maybe I have one more slide to show you, if you're able to move to the last slide. Yes, this is what we call the gap analysis diagram, which is kind of summarizing our assessment. And you can see two of the topics, that is indigenous peoples and cultural heritage, did not apply to this project. There were no real issues related to those two. But all the others, you can see they were able to reach the certification level, but not the advanced requirements, which would have provided, you know, the silver or the gold certification. But the Asahan 3 project was certified, as you can see here, and that happened, the report was issued in April and the certification came a little bit later. And my very last slide for you this morning or this afternoon is the next one, which is just to showcase that the International Hydropower Association and the Hydropower Sustainability Alliance, they have published a lot of very interesting reports on sustainable hydropower. They call them the how-to guides. So you can see here there are how-to guides related to indigenous peoples, infrastructure safety, resettlement, biodiversity, etc. And I highly recommend that those of you involved in the hydropower sector familiarize yourself with these how-to guidelines. And I think that was some sort of advertisement then, and I hope that this at least have provided you some little insight into how this certification and the standard related to hydropower is actually working. And hopefully it can be scaled up in Indonesia and elsewhere, meaning that other projects should also seek this certification. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Excellent presentation. And working myself in resettlement, I know how challenging this area is. So good that you only had 3 households, but of course, often resettlement is a much bigger, more complex issue. So we have a few minutes now with Dr. Stave. So I suggest that we take a little bit of time to have some questions now. I don't know if there was any in the chat or if anybody would like to ask any questions. You're welcome to type that in Bahasa into the chat for the interpreter, or you can, it would be great to turn your camera on and ask your question directly. We do have a simultaneous translation, so please don't let that be a barrier. So I don't know if we have any questions or comments from the floor. We have 117 people in the room. I'm sure there are some questions or comments from anyone. We do have some time now to take questions. We have about 10 minutes. Hello.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Jarod Arizona from IIGF. I have some question, but maybe first this question can trigger another discussion. Just want to quickly share my experience about 20 years ago, I led a scientific team to do the biodiversity assessment assigned by the International Development Agency as part of the environmental social baseline, as they want to sponsor a hydropower power plant in Kalimantan. So in short, we have result. The project location is important biodiversity area, as we found numbers of aquatic species, fishes, and most of them are protected and endemic species. And also we found that it is habitat for Bornean long-nosed monkeys. It is endemic in Borneo. So after that, after we report the finding, then the International Development Agency come up with no go decision, because it's they consider the environmental and social, particularly in the biodiversity assessment, biodiversity risk. But that was 20 years ago. But I think we have more learning about the ESG, and you mentioned in the discussion ESG tools. We have tools, but the issue is still about the capacity on how we can manage the risk. And second question, maybe if this ESG tool include the screening tools to assess project alternative before we can do the more comprehensive assessment on the one project, one project site. Maybe we can assess alternative 3 or 4 project site alternative to compare the risk between one site to another. So before we do the comprehensive assessment. Maybe that 2 questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you allow me, just a short answer to that. The HydroSelect tool, as I referred to, is very unique, that it will allow you to do that kind of early stage analysis of alternatives. So I strongly favor to use such kind of tools, because the project siting determines maybe 90% of the outcome, especially when you're in such an environment with very high biodiversity. If you don't get the project siting done correctly, it is very hard to achieve the performance standards of the IFC or the World Bank or the Asian Development Bank. So I very much support the approach to looking at the different alternatives. And I'd also want to say that biodiversity is arguably maybe the most challenging standard to comply with. Of course, resettlement as well, but resettlement can very often be managed if planned very well. Biodiversity is challenging because if you are in so-called critical habitat, it can be very hard to offset your impacts and to achieve the outcome, which is supposed to be no net loss of biodiversity or even net gain in biodiversity. So in some landscapes, the biodiversity is really a constraint, suggesting maybe that you need to look for other locations for project implementation. But of course, there are opportunities. Since 20 years ago, the issue of the biodiversity offset has made a lot of progress. So even if you are allowed to minimize or able to minimize your impacts, you can still achieve no net loss or net gain by implementing biodiversity offsets, which could imply that you protect one river if you are allowed to build a hydropower project in another river, for example. Yes, thank you.
Does that answer both of your questions? Can't hear you.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other questions?
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
Hello, Mr. John. I'm here from IIGF. I would like to ask some question. IIGF has provided guarantee for a small and medium scale hydropower program, which is financed by the international financing institution. The project comprises 6 hydropower plants located across Indonesia, which has a total installed capacity of 195 megawatts. But however, the development has not been going well due to permitting, environmental and technical issues. And so based on your experience, I would like to know whether these issues are indeed common issues in hydropower development, and what do you suggest, or what do we need to prepare to avoid or to prevent this issue in our future projects? I think that's the question from me. Thank you.
If I understand it correctly, you are having problems with implementing these different hydropower projects due to environmental issues as well. And of course, it's not very unique compared to other renewable energy sources like solar, which has a very kind of flexible technology. You can place it anywhere because, as I said, the location really matters. Hydropower is much more constrained because there are not that many places, not many rivers, and not many places along a river where a hydropower project can fit. So, of course, if you end up in a place which is technically suitable for hydropower, but it's not environmentally feasible, then, as I said, it can be very challenging. And according to my experience, it is very important then to minimize as much as possible the footprint, because that will also minimize the resettlement and the biodiversity impact. And the whole story of environmental flows. You remember I talked about the diverse and reach. We must be able to do a really good assessment of how much water needs to remain in the river in order for those species or those fish to survive. So the issues of releasing sufficient environmental flow may be also combined with fish passage on the dam, such that these natural ecological processes can be maintained. That is technically challenging to give a good solution to that, and it can also be expensive. Maybe so expensive that not all projects on the margin would still be economically feasible. So I think we have to accept that not all our hydropower projects can be sustainable, but I'm very convinced that through better planning, project siting, and better management of these sustainability topics, it's possible to achieve these requirements of the international lenders, which are becoming more and more stringent. I hope that somehow answered the question. Huh?
I have a comment there and a question, really, just listening to the discussion. Would you kind of advise that these decisions about siting of projects are made at a strategic or a basin-wide level, or even a national level, to really maximize the potential that is there, and so that you can apply this hierarchy of avoiding, mitigating, and minimizing? You can look at that at a higher level rather than just at a project by project level. Is that something that is in the domain that needs to be discussed? I think.
Yes, I think very much so. I mean, in Norway, where I come from, we have a master plan for hydropower, basically saying that some of our rivers will be protected. They will be free flowing, yeah? But others are prioritized for hydropower. And you can even fit more than one hydropower project into the same river in a cascade, which was also the example here. So we, as consultants, we are more and more engaged with strategic environmental assessments and hydropower master planning, because it's really at that early stage you can make the good decisions. And many countries would have a hydropower master plan, but that really requires you to prioritize. It's not just to say that we will have as much hydropower as possible, but you really have to distinguish the good ones from the bad ones. So that kind of strategic approach to hydropower, I think, is very, very important, looking at each of the river basins, much more so than for solar, which, as I said, is a bit more flexible. It takes a lot of land, but you can even put solar on the hydropower reservoirs. Nowadays, the floating solar is an emerging technology, because that will allow you the space to put your solar instead of putting it on the land, which maybe is already subject to land use conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's an interesting point. I know in ADB this is something that's being discussed, and hydropower is such an important part of that energy mix, along with solar and with wind. So yeah, thank you for that. If there are any more quick questions, I can perhaps take one more before we have to move on and make sure we finish on time? Any other questions before we finish? So we're going to have another Slido coming up just to give the team there a warning. So if there are no more questions, then I need to say a very big thank you for the presentation, for your insights, and for being able to be available, Dr. Stave, with us today. It was excellent to hear about your work. And of course, it's fantastic to have you as part of the ICH roster of experts ready to be mobilized to support the teams in their capacity and competency development, which we're going to talk about a little bit more. So if that's all for Dr. Stave, I will let him go and get back to work. Thank you very, very much to you. And just opening up for the Slido now.
Yeah, thank you very much. And apologies for my with the slides, but I hope it worked out.
No problem. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for being here with us.
Okay, so the second Slido that we have is around when you look at the presentation, that the Asana 3 demonstrate what successful project execution look like. It requires adaptive management, right? So moving from a strategic or a planning into practice, it comes with distinct challenges. So thinking about your own work area or your own project, what's the most critical operational bottleneck that your organization faces today? So we have a number of choices here. So is your most critical bottleneck your sustainable financing and bankability? Is it grid integration? Is it technical stability? Is it complying with, as Dr. Stave was saying, these more stringent requirements for social environment and governance? Or is it long-term planning for national energy security? So again, you have the QR code there, and you have the code on Slido. So is your most critical bottleneck to help you move towards this energy transition, is it sustainable financing and bankability? Is it grid integration and technical stability? Is it compliance with global ESG, environmental, social and governance standards? Or is it long-term planning for national energy security? So let's see if we can get to 40 again. So you've got the QR code and the Slido code there. I'll just give it one more minute. Any more? Again, we're not sharing your individual responses here. Okay, perhaps we'll move on to the results there. Okay, so the the most difficult bottleneck is compliance with global environmental, social and governance standards. And from working in project preparation, that's not actually a surprise. And that very much links to being able to access sustainable financing and bankability. And of course, that long-term planning is needed before you even start approaching finance institutions, because it takes a long time to develop these environmental and social documentations, the reports, the studies that are needed. And the technical stability seems to be the smallest of the four challenges. I guess technical solutions are, perhaps we're learning so much, there is so much expertise out there. So really ESG is your really big bottleneck. And yeah, working in safeguards, I'm afraid that's not a surprise to hear. But these are issues which can be resolved, but they do often take more time than is often set in terms of project planning. So I don't know if Dr. Stave, if you wanted to pop in there and say anything before we move on.
I think this corresponds very well to my experience. Yeah. Like 20 years ago, we were all looking at the technical solutions. Nowadays is really the ESG, which is a real bottleneck, but there's also the real opportunity to produce sustainable hydropower.
Absolutely. And I think working as a social specialist, I can see that there is real opportunity with these projects to be a development opportunity, not just for the government in terms of its fiscal kind of returns or for investors, but also these can be community benefits, but they do need experts who can really understand the context. And so building competence in your organization for local staff, your project readiness, so that you already have your internal systems aligned as much as possible with the international finance requirements to be able to mesh with those requirements much easier, rather than finding out later on what the requirements are and having to retrofit is always much easier. But it is a very proactive and approach that needs a lot of competency built there. Okay, thank you, Dr. Stave. I'm going to have to move us on so that we finish on time. If you wouldn't mind indulging me, we have a short video about ICH, and I think that fits really well with the bottlenecks that you are experiencing, in that we have a huge network of consultants and team members, people who are working in this field, who have seen the reality. We are not just people who work in a very theoretical way. We are people who have been in the field. And I just wanted to play a little video, if you would indulge me, just to show a little bit of the breadth of the network that ICH has. And then we'll another quick survey. But if you wouldn't mind playing the video. Water is the vital thread that binds us. In a world shaped by rapid climatic and structural shifts, sustainability must be the lighthouse guiding our sector. The energy transition is a collective journey, one where development walks hand in hand with deep respect for ecosystems and communities. For over 3 decades, the International Centre for Hydropower has proven that operational success and sustainability are two sides of the same coin. We believe the most valuable asset in renewable energy is the strategic management of socio-environmental risks. Real transformation means turning compliance into project delivery without ever compromising integrity. At ICH, we build the core institutional competence that technical and executive teams need to unblock project bottlenecks. We equip utilities, developers, and financial institutions with high-impact methodologies. Through advanced risk simulations, we pressure test regulatory frameworks against financial, climatic, and social uncertainty before it impacts capital. Because risks evolve across an asset's lifespan, our frameworks convert daily data into preventative action. We anchor these models on the ground through immersive live labs. Using the 5 capitals approach, we bridge the gap between advanced engineering and field execution, clearing the pathway for multilateral capital. To secure total project bankability, ICH has operationalized 5 essential building blocks. Natural capital, environmental integrity and biodiversity, keeping infrastructure in harmony with nature. Social capital, multi-stakeholder dialogue to build long-term local trust. Human capital, corporate governance and technical inclusion, turning international standards into measurable skills. Manufactured capital, hydropower resilience, managing assets predictably against changing hydrological realities. Financial capital, network dynamics and energy markets, mastering grid stability and complex agreements. This is a global movement. By the close of 2025, ICH had equipped over 2,200 executives across 45 countries. From our headquarters in Norway, we connect the world's primary energy frontiers. In Southeast Asia and the Himalaya, our frameworks empower developers across transboundary river systems. Across Africa, we unlock regional potential through resilient infrastructure. Meanwhile, in Latin America and the Caribbean, our approach aligns projects with fluid market dynamics and the strictest integrity standards. Crucially, gender and inclusion is operationalized as an independent technical protocol, a key risk mitigation indicator indispensable for unlocking multilateral finance. The path ahead is demanding, but the direction is clear. From the boardroom to the field, we build the asset hardest to replicate: global institutional trust. Let us design your competence pathway. Energy connects us. ICH unites us. There you go. You might recognize that voice there. Thank you for indulging me there. So as you can see, ICH has a huge international network, and we are not just a capacity building, we're really about building competence in the senior management. We've worked at all different levels across different regions. And so we have a huge network of people to draw from. So we do hope to see you on one of our courses soon, but I think Laura is going to share a quick QR code, if you wouldn't mind filling this in, just to give us a bit of a flavour. Are you there, Laura?
Yes, but I cannot find how to share the QR code.
Okay.
I think the hosting platform needs to allow me to do so.
Okay. Is Laura able to share?
And Joe, that was a fantastic broadcast. Congratulations. Your voice, as always, is
I don't like to hear my own voice on the video, as you know. But anyway, so you have all had
delivery with our beautiful ICH videos around the world are one better than the other one. So
yeah,
all my kudos.
Fantastic.
It's been beautiful. Oh, okay, guys, I need a way how to send the QR. Any help from headquarters in Indonesia that can help me?
You're not able to share?
I'm not able to share.
Can you put it in the chat?
Okay, now I will be able to share.
Okay. So while Laura's sharing that, so what you've had is a little snapshot of the ICH methodology. So is that able to be seen? Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah. Can everyone see that? So if you wouldn't mind scanning this QR code and giving us a little bit of feedback and information, that would be very much appreciated. So while you're filling that in, so now you've had a little snapshot of our methodology, and all of our courses and lots of information is available on our website if you would like to go there and find out more about us and upcoming courses. And of course, we're also available to design very specific courses for you, suited to your needs and your competency requirements. So we're really would look forward to hearing from you and discussing anything that we are able to do to be able to help you to develop your capacity, your competence in-house, to be able to align yourself with the financing requirements. Of course, environmental social governance, as we've seen, is the main bottleneck, and that's something that really requires that in-house competency is so important, because you know your challenges, you know your legislation, you know your context. And so working together to develop a competency program for your leadership team, we would love to hear from you. So I think that is almost all from me. I'll just give you another moment or two to finish with the QR code, and then I'm going to hand over to Laura, and then it will be back to the MC to discuss a little bit we'll go straight back to the MC. We're going to hear from some stakeholders now, and then we'll come back to Laura and then closing remarks. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attention. It's back to the team in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe and Dr. Yarn Stave and Laura. Thank you very much for the ACH team for such an insightful and engaging presentation. It's very engaging with our projects here. Now we will move on to our next session. As mentioned Joe before, that we are pleased to hear the perspective of key renewable energy financing stakeholders in Indonesia. This discussion will provide valuable insights into the opportunities and the practical consideration for advancing renewable energy investment in Indonesia. This session will be led by Mr. Pratomo Ismujatmika, Deputy Director of Business at the Indonesian Infrastructure Guarantee Fund. And also I'm pleased to acknowledge Mr. Irman Boyle, Executive Vice President of Indonesia Infrastructure Finance. And without further ado, I will let Mr. Pratomo and Mr. Irman, the floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello everyone. My name is Pratomo. I'm currently as a Deputy Director of Project Guarantee and Business Development in IIGF. And allow me to offer some perspective on our experience in providing the guarantee. We would like also to continue to for appreciation to the ICH and for very engaging collaboration with IIGF Institute in providing this event, and hopefully it can be continued into a form of much comprehensive capacity building that can be very valuable for us. And IIGF itself, as the special mission vehicle of the Ministry of Finance, we have the mandate to provide the guarantee as a de-risking fiscal facility in supporting some of the infrastructure project across Indonesia. And we also have experience in providing guarantee for some hydropower program in central and eastern Indonesia, where we support together with Ministry of Finance in providing guarantee. And this also has received financing from the international or bilateral financing institution. So practically we have been exposed to on how the best practice of assessing and in compliance with the best practice of financing in perspective of the bilateral. Maybe in my perspective is now, since the Indonesia is now currently is been in transition from the coal fire to the much more sustainable resources, energy resources. That means that hydropower will be a key strategic resource for us to develop in the future. But now we still face a challenge in how we have the necessary capacity in not only developing the project, but also have the capacity of understanding how the best practice in implementing the right structure and preparing the right structure, right project structure, and how to be able to attract financing from the multilateral or bilateral parties. So that means that we need to have the capacity to understand what will be the parameter that become the concern from those parties. Now with this, in this afternoon discussion, we learn a lot about how ESG tools has been in practice for many years in several countries, and we also learn in neighboring country as well, like Laos has been implementing this, and we are keen to observe more on how we can utilize this ESG tool to be able to enhance our capacity in providing the de-risking structure that is suitable and fit for this to attract the right bankability. So in recent years, actually like since last 2 years, we have been developing the ESG framework, and we also has our own dedicated unit that been developing our ESG capability, and we hope that with this event and with the continuing collaboration with the ICH, we can improve our capacity not only in IIGF but also in our relevant stakeholder as well, in domestic financing institution, relevant ministry and relevant stakeholders. And we also observe that there is a growing interest from the municipalities and regional government to be able to develop the capacity in developing the hydropower, small hydropower program, which is maybe on off-grid, that maybe it's going to be the next major objective for us in the future. That's maybe some perspective from us, from IIGF, and we do hope that with the continuing of our collaboration between the ICH and IIGF Institute and IIGF, we hope that we can be able to accelerate the development of hydropowers in moving the not only the capacity but also our ability to structure much more bankable project in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pratomo. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Irman Boyle from IIF. Good afternoon, Pak. Mr. Irman Boyle already in the room with us.
Oke. Ya, saya nggak bisa unmute saya sendiri, jadi harus di-unmute sama panitia, sama host. So, thank you for the opportunity to contribute in this workshop. So, yeah, I would like to thank you for the sharing sessions provided by ICH, and pretty much in line with our current practice in IIF, basically. So I think for the benefit of everyone here, I would like to introduce IIF first. So basically, IIF, Indonesia Infrastructure Finance, is a government-sponsored financial institutions with the mandate to accelerate infrastructure project development in Indonesia through project financing and also through the provision of advisory services related to transaction and also project finance advisory. So our founding shareholders include the Ministry of Finance through PT SMI. They own up to 45% of IIF shares. And then the other founding shareholders include the World Bank Group through IFC, and then ADB, Asian Development Bank, and DEG, the private sector arm of KfW. So basically, since our establishment, IIF has always been in compliance with the international best practice on ESG, and IIF has its own social and environmental principles and then SNE principles, which basically similar to IFC performance standard. So when IIF was first established back in 2010, basically our mission is to introduce the project finance scheme or limited recourse scheme into the infrastructure financing market, and second is to introduce the ESG discipline into ESG discipline in safeguarding the project implementation, as putting in place the lender's requirement as the mandatory provision in doing project construction and operation. So and then we are basically practice across infrastructure sectors, transport, digital infra, fiber optic, water, and then also of course renewable energy. So in fact, renewable energy is our largest investment portfolio, and most of our renewable energy portfolio is basically in hydropower. So small to medium hydropower with range up to 10 or 15 megawatts, for example. So that is basically the sweet spot of doing hydropower project in Indonesia. So not too big. It can be arranged using the run-of-river technology, and the PPA can be distributed across Indonesia's regions. So we are also active across renewable energy technologies: wind, biogas, biomass, solar PV, and also geothermal. So it is interesting that the hydropower sustainability standard that that is introduced by IGS this afternoon, and I see a lot of basically similarities with what IIF already been doing. So IIF SNE principles is basically we have 8, which is similar with IFC performance standard. So the other 4 is basically also will always be part of our due diligence requirement. So, for example, governance and also procurement will always be, a priority of us in ensuring that the project is basically awarded through an accountable and also transparent process. And then requirement like assessment of hydrological resources and also climate risk impact, for example, is on top of the requirement from our SNE principle. That's also coming from our credit risk due diligence process, and also in our risk management process. So particularly, we been putting more emphasis on the climate risk impact of the all the infrastructure projects that IIF is supporting. So pretty much basically the HSS, the hydropower sustainability standards that was being introduced here, I think that is the best option for Indonesia going forward. And with all the experience coming from the ICH, and then also then working together with IIGF, we would like to explore further on how IIF can benefit from these cooperations. So I think that's a quick comment from my side, but thank you. Hello.
We don't have any sound here, but I'm expecting the MC to start with the closing remarks now.
Yes, but are you please go ahead? Yeah. Hello.
There's no sound. I can't hear you speaking.
Hello? Hello, Laura,
yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So since we already at the end of our today's session, I would like to ask the willingness of everyone who joined in Zoom to open their camera and take a photo together, so we can document. We have documentation of our today's moment together. Please, everyone, to open your camera and give your. Okay. Our team will support to. Okay. To do the screen capture. So we start from the page 1. I will count down, and 3, 2, 1. And next page. Okay. Can I ask a favor to everyone to open their camera, please? We have thousands participants here. So I would like to let everyone to show their smile. Okay. Okay? Okay, and 3, 2, 1. Smile. Yeah. Okay. Already all of the participants, we got the photos? Already, okay. Thank you so much for today participants in today's session. So we hope today's executive briefing has provided useful insights into ESG implementation. And should you wish to continue the discussion or explore future collaboration with IIGF Institute and ICH, please feel free to contact us through our website. We already put in the chat box. So on behalf of PT Penjaminan Infrastruktur Indonesia, IIGF Institute, IIF, and the International Center for Hydropower, thank you for your participation. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you again at our next event. Good afternoon, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much,
Bye.
Pak.
Terima kasih. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, everyone,
Thank
please.
you. Bye-bye.
Please fill the attendance form. We still open the attendance form.
So much to all the team in
Please,
Indonesia.
everyone. Yep. Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much. Okay, we still encourage everyone to fill in the attendance form.